Hello my lovely toads. Like a flea, no matter how much you think he's dead, ToadRules is back. So this video has been a long time coming. I mean a long time coming. While there are reasons, like an ever-growing sense of anxiety and depression making it really hard for me to see projects to completion, a throat issue that, as of writing the script and recording these lines, the doctors haven't found the cure to, and a side project I may reveal more information on later if I feel like it, it was really just laziness on my part. But I'm finally sitting down to complete the long-awaited second part of the Kirby Triple Deluxe floatless challenge. Also, another note before we begin. This will actually be the last video I post on this channel. I'm actually planning on opening up two new channels, ToadRules Plays and ToadRules. Don't worry, I have a different name for this channel in mind, unless you're watching in the future, in which I'd like to ask, why? As you'd imagine, on the ToadRules Plays channel, I'll post my Let's Play content. That channel will premiere sometime in January, and don't worry, I'll have a trailer for when it does, alongside a link to the channel. As for ToadRules, that's where I'll post content like this, you know, reviews and such, which I'll also have a video for that as well. As for why I'm doing this, I personally feel it's kinda dumb how I've been grouping all my content on this one channel. It would be a lot better to separate these types of videos, especially since videos like this are way more work. Also, it would help me have a more accurate subscriber count, since I know far over half of those people simply couldn't be bothered to unsubscribe. Thanks for the 100 subscribers, by the way. Anyway, enough chit-chat. Unless you use the timestamp I so happily provided, right, future ToadRules? Let's get into the meat of the challenge. That is, and unless you read the timestamp I so happily provided, in which you'll see we still need to cover the actual float amount. In the original, I hadn't created a spreadsheet like a complete noob, which meant a lot of things fell through the cracks. In this video, I was finally smart enough to make a spreadsheet. While replaying, because apparently I couldn't be bothered to see if I still had the original footage, I found not one, but two floats left unaccounted for. The first of which was in 4-3. If you don't remember, it's that level with the ability list section that took me not 3, not 5, not even 6, but 4 floats. Well, apparently there was another float that I forgot about, which is right here with this armor guy. The switch is just barely too high for us to reach, and his knockback is simply too severe even with guarding, so that's another float. The second was within 6-5, that one jarringly long one. You may remember that I kind of breezed over most of level 6, and that's because at that point I was getting a bit burnt out. Quite frankly, I'm also getting kind of burnt out with this video, and I'm not even halfway through scripting it. Because of this though, I completely neglected to mention this float right at the end of the Hypernova section. Despite what it looks like, we can't enter without another float. So that's 14 floats, right? Well, no, because I actually found some saves as I replayed the game. Though I also want to briefly mention this float I forgot to account for in 6-3. I found this so close to the scripting phase, I actually haven't recorded it yet. Well, actually I have by recording my audio. And I only plan to after I'm done with scripting this section. At first, I thought you had to drag these snowman heads through this section, which no matter how hard I tried, I could not get under this guy. Well, as it turns out, you just simply don't need to. Yeah, you can just walk right. Anyway, the first float save is in the previously mentioned 4-3, in this previously mentioned section. As it turns out, all you need to do is get a running start, which gives Kirby just enough height to only require 3 floats. And before you try to beat me up because I lied to you earlier, I didn't say anything about my prior playthrough. The second and final one is in another priorly mentioned stage, 6-3, in this area with the vortex. The solution is literally a copy and paste of the previous one. And before you say, it actually took you 4 floats, listen to this audio. If that isn't 3, my math teacher lied to me. So in short, we went from 12 required floats to 12 required floats. Whether that's a letdown or a relief, you tell me, which you can actually now, by the way. But now it is finally time we get to the meat of the challenge. And now, it is time for a brief reduction montage. So in the original video, you may remember I just looked at all of the stages. While that wasn't an awful idea, it did lead to a decent amount of repetition, as a lot of what I said amounted to, this was easy, or this isn't all that interesting. To remedy this, I will go down the level list and remove the unnecessary stragglers. Immediately, we can remove all of the bosses, which is kind of a shame, as I think the boss theme is insanely underrated. We can also remove all of level 1, except for 1-3, as this world, even though I just said level, is fairly easy, even with our nerfing. We can also remove a decent chunk of level 3, except for 3-1 and 3-5, as this world overall is not an issue. The same can be said about level 4, this time 4-3, and of all stages, 4-7 can't be removed. Similarly, levels 5 and 2 only have 2 per pop we can't cross off. Why didn't I just group these with the other ones? I have no idea. Those being the 2nd and 4th stages of each. Oh yeah, that's the idea. We also covered everything of interest in 6-5, which leaves us with removing everything but 6-3 and the final stage, 6-8. We hope you enjoyed this not-so-brief reduction montage. 1-3. The second Hypernova level, the only level, it says stage on the map. I couldn't get all of the Sunstones in, and surprisingly, the only house of this awesome tune. Man, this game's soundtrack is underappreciated. Anyway, you may remember that I said it may be possible using a jump in 3-1 as an example. What I didn't think about is that this jump is not only nearly frame perfect, but on top of that is shorter than this one. So that's another float, but we are not done. When we actually get the Sunstone, the area we're trapped in afterwards is unfortunately too high up for a normal jump to cut it. This adds 2 more floats, rounding out our float count to 15 count. Oh cool, more awesome music. Anyway, 2-2. For those that don't remember, this was the first time we had to float, because this block guy is positioned perfectly in the way. More importantly, though, is the 3rd Sunstone. Just the process of entering the area looks like it will take a float, but we can actually damage boost to get there with none. The second problem, though, is the puzzle itself. Unfortunately, my deflated brain couldn't find a way to complete this with any less than the normally required 4 floats, which brings our total up to 19. Oh cool, this song again. Alright, I'll just focus on the video. Anyway, I'll just cut right to the chase with this one. This entire level seems like it'll be possible, but it actually isn't because of this door at the 3rd Sunstone. Just like the accursed door of 6-5, this door is just barely out of our reach, forcing us to do another float, bringing our total to 20. Yeah, I know this isn't the right song. Anyway, now's the part where I segue into the Sunstone. This is actually the only one I outright mentioned wasn't possible in my original video, but I don't think I ever explained why. We have no issues entering the room or even getting to the Sunstone, but we do have any issue after we leave. You see, in order to get the key, we have to destroy the block on the right. This, however, is the only way we can normally leave the section without floating. Rather unfortunate, but we have no choice but to use 2 floats to escape the ravine, bringing us up to 22. So in the original video, I said you could put the heads on the wrong bodies to reduce the floats. As it turns out though, that's not necessary. We can drag one of the heads to the right body, but stop a bit before it attaches. Then all we need to do is jump over the new stack, and as little sense as it makes, move the heads to the right body. So while our floats may not be altered, to an extent that's really good, as that means less editing for me. Oh, this song again. Anyway, 4-3 strikes again, this time once again in the Hypernova section. Wow, we would have thought a level with 2 ability-less sections in a Hypernova section would be a problem for this run. Speaking of problem, the problem here is, interestingly enough, the 4th Sunstone. The process of freeing it isn't a problem, which is good because if it was, the level itself would be unbeatable since we have to use these curtains to destroy the false paintings. No, the problem is that I keep forgetting that issue is a word. The issue, though, is that the Sunstone spawns too far away to obtain it without floating. This requires 1 float to get there and 2 to leave, bringing our total up to 25. Ooh, an optional level. Interestingly, level 4-7 does not require any floats to get its Sunstones. Well, that was quick. See you next time until you realize we also have to beat the level in order for said Sunstones to count. And unfortunately, this level has an ability-less section. Now, overall, this section seems unthreatening. That is, until we reach this wall. Since it's impossible for us to have our ability at this point, that's another float, bringing our total up to 26. The biggest and most unfortunate tragedy in this challenge has to be the second Sunstone in 5-2. Wow, you can totally tell I'm not reading a script. You see, when playing originally at about level 6, my brother reminded me that the beetle ability could hit stumps. I was thinking it could help in this section, where normally you need the stone ability, which would add 2 more floats to our counter. The issue, though, is the recoil using beetle gives us. This Sunstone is already one of the most precise in the game, and unfortunately, no matter how much I tried, I just could not do it with the beetle ability. So sadly, that's 2 more floats, bring our total up to 28. I'm noticing a trend. Oh, and as we go through 5-4's Hypernova section, we come across this. Yeah, this kinda explains itself. But luckily, we can use the walls to our advantage and reduce from normally 6 floats to 5, making our total only 31. Oh cool, 6-3. How original. Anyway, since this is an entire level using the Hypernova fruit, really, it's a bigger surprise that the second one is possible without adding any floats. I already mentioned this float required for the first Sunstone, but that's not all that's required for that one. Because it requires a float just to get to the Sunstone, and a float to leave the area it drops us in, leaving us with 36 total floats. But wait, there's more! As you probably already knew, the third Sunstone is also a bit of a chore, as even with the semi-precise guard and a whole lot of damage boosting, we still need 2 floats to even get there, making our total 38. Side note, funny how we have a challenge that actually uses ladders. 6-8 is the final level in the game, which you unlock by collecting 99 Sunstones, with the level itself containing the 100th. The most surprising thing about the level is, despite being another Hypernova Marathon, you can beat it casually without adding a single float. But we're not here to beat it casually, and, well, we wouldn't be here if the Sunstone didn't cause any troubles, or if the level itself was impossible, which, as I said, isn't. Anyway, they kind of just threw it at the end of the level. Weird. Oh, and it's just barely out of reach, making our floats go up to 39. So, that's that. Thanks for watching, and yeah, you probably read the title card. As uncommon as it is, we still need to get them rare keychains. That is a typo, but I did not have any control over that. Anyway, these don't have much to talk about, so let's just get on with it. Oh, yay, another repeating theme. Oh, and the rare keychain requires us to knock down this tree piece to make a bridge so we can break this one. This process doesn't require any floats, but it can still be kind of annoying since you can accidentally destroy the tree piece unwillingly. Unfortunately though, these trains are the real pains. It's not because inhaling them is difficult, but rather because our only way out is up. In order to do this, we need 4 floats, leaving us with 43. This is my least favorite rare keychain. Took me up until recording this footage to realize they were going for symmetry with the sun and moon thing, which even then is so late in the level most wouldn't think of it. Oh, and just like the Sunstone, entering the moon requires 1 float, making our final total 44. Well, there we have it. Our final numbers are 12 floats to beat the game casually, 39 to get all Sunstones, and 44 to add in the rare keychains. Apparently I forgot to tweak those when I retweaked the float amount. This video was quite the process for me. I'm writing this part mere minutes after I woke up and voicing it not that much less later. Anyway, since I can't think of any way to end the video, I'll just show some funny bloopers as my outro.